Hey, welcome in, cuties. Hope you're having a or a nice Friday evening. There is a lot of exciting thing happening in cities. The single and most exciting thing happening is maybe Gaga related. Maybe not, maybe yes. We're not that many yet, so I guess I shouldn't show it right away. But I think Maestro and Gaga obviously both know about it already, but holy shit, we're getting a cactus, and I'm very excited about getting a cactus. We're gonna look at it right away. As the last time we've been working on this cute hillside neighborhood, which oh, hold on, what is happening here? I've been having issues with this, and I don't know why. I'm gonna yeet this train out real quick. I just changed the mod earlier that changes the capacity of my depot, and since I have trains getting stuck here, so maybe we have to clean up a little. But yeah, now it seems to be flowing again, and welcome in, Sunny. Nice to see you, cutie, here. And I think you also seen it already, but guys, do we notice something? I am gonna say I'm noticing something, and I do think it is what Los Vagos always needed. Is so beautiful, isn't it? Gaga is still working on it, so don't hurry, Gaga. I'm sure there is gonna be many nice and positive changes to our cute cactus we already have. But I am so excited, like wholeheartedly. The heavy lifting this does. I'm gonna change the light real quick. But the heavy lifting this does for our build is absurd. Like wholeheartedly. Maybe this is just a me thing as well. But I think this does so much for our build. Like even just a small corner like this, where you see two cactus right now, the amount of vibe this is adding to our build is absolutely fabulous. So big fan, and yes, Gaga has been working on a cactus. So finally and soon we will actually be proud cactus owners, and I love it. Like Gaga made multiple different sizes as well. All of them are very pretty. Some smaller, some bigger. All of them are actually very interesting and varied. So, wholeheartedly, I'm gonna agree with you, Sunny. They are absolutely beautiful. And holy goddamn, Cons bought this mansion here. I did not know how hard I would be going on this mansion. Cons probably has the nicest property in our entire city by now. I mean, to be honest, I think I'm curious if you guys would agree with me, but I do think this hillside neighborhood by now is starting to work out very cute. And as you guys know, these pools are ready for a while now. I have a golf pack that I'm sure the three of you have seen in my Discord as well. So the last thing we need to do is build out these two gardens, and then I can take screenshots, and then I can probably release both of them this weekend. Because wholeheartedly, they're both entirely finished. There might be a small change to the golf pack, because we can have a look at the golf pack together. They are, whoops, I don't even know where my own stuff is, but they are right here. I actually listen to people. So I'm not sure. I quite like the vanilla aesthetic. The last time I was streaming, I asked people if they would prefer an icon in the or a small icon in the thumbnail, and a lot of people said yes, they think it's nice for navigation. I'm still not entirely sold by it. I added an icon for people that have asked for it. I still need to add the icons to the pool, so that's still a small thing I have to do. But outside of that, I would be interested if you guys prefer this over the vanilla look. I actually really like the vanilla look, and I know that my Astro will agree with me because he did agree with me the last time. But I think everybody beside my Astro disagreed with me the last time and said they prefer it with item or with icons. I think they are pretty like taken back. I was thinking about making them even smaller, but at that point, in some areas, they get shown a bit smaller and you can barely even see them anymore. So I'm not sure, but yes, I did went ahead. There is one small thing I want to add. I want to add a sub object of one of the bags on the back of this card. Obviously, people can place it there manually, but I think it's nicer. But yes, I went ahead and added recolor variations and everything. Maybe there is some slight cleanup needed for the colors, but I'm wholeheartedly satisfied. Like I do think this golf cart is starting to look very cute. I wish I was talking to my Astro for or about this a while. I wish that there was a way how we could make a golf cart drivable. And yes, there is, like the bus prefab, for example, would be working. The issue is all of the prefabs that we have available for something like this do add through traffic as well. And I just cannot imagine having a golf cart on the highway. It will just look silly. So I'm a bit torn. I would love it otherwise, but I don't think realistically it makes sense. So probably we're gonna keep it as a prop, but yes, I think it looks very cute. I wanted the look of one of those really typical 90s golf carts to be very like not too modern, not too fancy, maybe not the right approach for what we have in this garden here, but in general, this is exactly the vibe I imagine to be driving around in Los Vagos. Again, a lot of my US impressions when I'm building are like long ago childhood experiences from the 90s. So probably that's why there's a lot more 90s aesthetic in this build than it actually deserves to be. And then we have a few other things. With a flag, I'm a bit unsure. And maybe actually somebody in chat has a good idea for how to solve the flags most elegant. First things first, this is the bags we have. One of the things I want to still do to the bag is to place a sub object up here that has like 50% spawn chance maybe. So maybe every second of those cards should have a bag attached on the back to it already. Not the end of the world is done really quickly in the editor, so we'll definitely do that. And then we have this second bag, which is basically exactly the same model. It's just a setup standing version of it. And I do think these together work really well. I also have to admit, obviously, this is not a real golf brand. I'm not sure if anybody realized this on the screenshots I've been posting so far. But I might have went ahead and created a golf brand, which I think is a very solid name for people playing golf. And I do think, while it's a silly Easter egg and very fitting to my 3-year-old humor that I generally have, I do think it looks real enough that most people will probably not immediately question
Is
it.
very nice.
So again, I'm not sure. Yeah, Borat would probably be a bit big fan of this. I mean, I don't think anything is wrong, Sonny. What do you do when you go golf? You swing your club, don't you? So I figured those people are into swinging things. So I figured swingers is a pretty appropriate name for it. Debatable, maybe a bit questionable, but I do think the logo actually looks very nice and very golfy on this, so I could not contempt myself from adding this. And then I keep opening Find It for some reason, even though this is what I want to open. Then we have a few things with the flags, and the flags are a bit of a questionable thing and something where I would like some feedback from you guys, because you can already see in some terrain my flag causes a bit of issues. The problem is, oh, and this actually is very curious. I will have to redo this. Why is this happening? Cause in a grass build, the grass surface goes over it. I think this is a Gaga surface problem, actually, that reveals itself here. Your surfaces don't draw on meshes, right? It's fine, it's fine. We have a version without this. The problem for the whole, and I think most of you guys will be able to follow me, because I'm going to take the version with only the hole here. The problem we have with the hole is that we need a clipping surface here, right? And it's interesting that the level of this is not entirely correct. I can fix that in the editor easily. But the issue is I would need a clipping surface for the round middle of the hole. The only problem we have with that is we are not able to draw a surface as small as the hole is. So my current solution, and I already can see that my current solution is not the perfect one, so I'm gonna have to do some fixes tomorrow. But my current solution is to use a grass mesh. This will work perfectly fine for anybody in a grass build. This actually does not work for us, which is a bit unfortunate. Not a big problem. We have a version without this as well, so we can just use this today. But if anybody has a good idea how to solve the issue of the hole, I don't think it matters too much that the hole is there or not. I think the flag without it is perfectly fine as well. I do think it's a nice detail, but again, I cannot use a clipping surface as small as the flags are. So I will need some kind of workaround to get a hole there. And my current solution again was using a grass mesh, which does work because then the normal terrains shine through. The problem we have is that Gaga surfaces are not drawing on top of meshes. So they ignore the terrain in that part. That's why it looks so silly in our case. I actually should have tested this before stream, but I didn't manage to. So it's a little bit of a bummer. Actually, you can see on stream. Because, yeah, I do think this is obviously not the solution we want. I will probably listen to Gaga, who recommended me to just not make an actual hole, but just give it a mesh and decorate that as in looking like a hole. And I do think that's the right solution, because I can just fake a hole. I would have actually really liked if I would have been able to do a clean hole. But not only is that a bit questionable because of what's happening here, that not every surface is going to draw on top of that mesh, but I think it's even more questionable due to terrain, right? Because if you have terrain that's not flat, like in an area here, yes, that will definitely cause issues. So, interesting, we're seeing this together. I did not know that this is as problematic. I knew about the terrain problematic. I did not know that the surfaces don't draw on top of them. The surface is perfect. The only thing but that's not your fault. That's really just how our things interact with each other. I also think just the flag is fine. I will probably go ahead and just remove the hole or just use the hole as a mesh and like pretend there to be a hole in the mesh without there actually being one. Because yes, I do think visually this is also perfectly fine. I have to admit, if you'd be in a grass build, the other thing does look nice, right? Because if we find a very flat area of the build, well, not super flat, but maybe flat enough, I do think this actually does work somewhat solid. It's curious. In the desert, he keeps changing the color slightly because we're using a desert theme. But I don't know. I would have liked to have the hole because it is kind of visible. But yeah, I this is not the right approach for it. Sadly, again, the correct approach for it is not possible, just because we cannot make the clipping surfaces so short. Which I didn't know. I actually had no clue before I tried to do this. I figured a clipping surface would be perfectly fine for us. But yeah, apparently a clipping surface is not perfectly fine for us because it's a tad too short. But yes, I'm fairly sure it's not a problem. I will just go ahead and model just a hole and just give it a white outline and then a black inside with a bit of a gradient. So there is no actual hole, but it will still look like one. I thought I can make this work, but yeah, it's very obvious to me, and I'm sure you guys as well, that it does not work like I was hoping for it to. And I can also see that my color variations are definitely still a little off. In the editor, I don't know why this is. The editor has a lot harsher lighting than any save in the game I've ever tried. So I have this with every single pack where I do the color variations, and then in the editor I'm very happy with them, and then I look at them in game and I don't like them anymore. So that's definitely something I will revisit, as well as fixing up the flag properly. But otherwise, I'm very happy. I think this looked very, or looks very cute. I'm curious, Gaga, because you were complaining about my flag being too flat, and I told you I don't think it is too flat. You can see now that it's not flat at all, right? I actually think a lot of the small things work very solid, because I even made a golf ball, and a golf ball obviously is very small. I think this works, like wholeheartedly. Even if you're obviously eventually it disappears, but even if you're quite far away like this, I do think the golf ball is still doing some heavy lifting. Is a very small detail and obviously not a very interesting one, but very close up, I do think it works well. And then if you zoom out a bit further, I with the ball I had to play around quite a bit with the LODs and adjust them quite a bit for them to actually look as solid as I wanted them to. And then eventually this I can correct still. I can give it a bit higher LOD bias so it stays in longer. But I'm not even sure it has to. I think this probably is a distance where it's acceptable to slowly fade it out. Because really, at this point, it's 1 by 1 pixel pretty much. So not too much point in keeping it. But yeah, the colors and a few of the LOD transitions are or is what I want to recheck still. And then I'm gonna give another effort to the whole and see if I can make that. Yes, it does, but I actually adjusted my LOD. I used to always play with 100% level of detail in the past. I lowered that because I decided I want to be closer to what the average player is, right? Like I want my game to be close to default settings. So I have my LODs on the default setting for the game right now. And that's how I recheck if I think they look fine or not. Then you are perfectly fine to point out if somebody has graphic settings that are quite a bit below the default settings, then yes, for them the LODs will behave different, but so do they for everything else in the game, right? Their game just will look worse, and that's including my asset. But again, I do think that's also right? Because they put their performance too low because they have performance issues. So who am I to raise the LOD bias to a degree where I override their low performance settings. So wholeheartedly, I think just working with the defaults is the right approach for these things. The one thing I cannot judge well, and that's where I'm interested in your testing later, because you have a 4K display, Gaga. I will ask you to recheck my LODs on a 4K display. Because the truth is, I'm not sure how well this works on 4K. And I can see that the color of the golf ball, which is recolorable, but I cannot touch it here, it's a tad too dark. I want the golf ball to be more vibrant and white. And yes, I do think I will definitely raise the LOD bias for the LOD 2 a little. I think it fades a tad too early. Not much too early, but a little too early. Otherwise, I'm wholeheartedly surprised how heavy the lifting of these things is. Because again, I don't think the colors are optimal yet. But I do think this works really well. Like if you look at this in a screenshot like this, I think the cactuses together with just these few things we have here, it gives this an entirely different vibe, at least in my opinion. I'm sure other people would disagree, but I think this works really well together to bring a different look. And then, especially this area, I love it so much because it shows the cactus and the golf stuff. And I think together, both of them just work really well. So we should actually go ahead because I do need proper screenshots of these things so I can light them up. Also, give me a moment. I'm gonna skip the song real quick. That was a bit stressy. But yeah, I should go in and actually properly detail some of this so we can make some progress on this and I can actually properly publish later. Obviously, this is a really mansiony place, so we need people that look wealthy. We need people that look like they're playing golf. This gentleman actually looks wealthy. He looks like he's a golfer. The one thing I've been trying around with as well, and I'd be curious what you guys are saying, is I was looking into maybe making actual clubs by itself as well for people to kinda use the clubs. The truth is we cannot attach them properly to any of the animations or poses of the Sims. I did not like how it looked, so I ended up just discarding it. Maybe you guys disagree with me and think we should actually have clubs as well, but the only way that I can see how clubs properly work is putting them on the floor, like flat, and I don't know how realistic that is. Again, I've never played golf in my life, so I'm probably the wrong person to do this build. But I imagine that is a bit silly to just have the clubs lying in the floor. Gladly correct me if you disagree and you think that would be appropriate. I can very easily add those because we have the clubs fully done anyways. Yeah, I mean, I have them in the bag. That's exactly what I've done because it was the best solution I could imagine. Or do you mean a different bag? Because that's what my solution was. All of my bags have the clubs in them because I do think that's a nice way to showcase them. But I don't know how you would go outside of that properly. Like have a club by itself and just have it standing in the air close to a hand of somebody. I don't think that looks great. Yes, that was exactly my thinking. I actually did try around with it in game a bit, and everything that I tried just looked silly. So yeah, I went back and decided that is nonsense and I shouldn't do this. So again, if anybody has a good idea how to do this and how we can make the clubs work looking not silly, gladly hit me with it and I'm be happy to include that. But I personally don't see a way or don't see a situation in which they don't look silly. But I do think this works really well, like wholeheartedly. I think this is a great screenshot by itself. Gaga, am I allowed to add your cactus in screenshots? Or do you want me to remove your cactus? Okay, nice. Well, maybe you would want it to like be kept secret or more secret. I mean, I'm showing it on my stream, but my stream is watched by 2 people, so not too relevant. But maybe if I release a mod, you would prefer it to not be on there yet. One thing I wanted to recheck, where I'm not sure if I recall correctly, I kind of want a golf cart here to be bringing the people to the helicopter, because I do think we have a luggage in the game, if I'm not mistaken. And if we have a luggage, then I do think it would be a very cute scene. Yeah, I mean, they look amazing. I know that you're like far from being like fully happy, and I'm the same. I take a long time to like fine tune things in the end, but I already can tell you that they will be absolutely beautiful. They are already absolutely beautiful, and I'm sure you will make them even nicer. And now comes the moment of truth, if I'm right or if I'm wrong. Yes, we do have a luggage. Nice. Cause in my mind, it would be a very cute idea to place some luggage here in the back. Holy heck, the wheels of this are very buggy. But yes, and then have a group of people actually moving over here to the helicopter with some luggage, getting ready to go somewhere. Why the heck is this mesh behaving the way it does? Maybe it's because we're using the vanilla version that's supposed to be animated. Yeah, I think I should use Jay's version instead. Because look, the vanilla versions, it's the same with some of the ball props. They bounce around like crazy. And obviously that's not what we want. So yeah, see, even if we just hover over them, they bounce around. So good, I realized this. We're gonna eat those out right away and use the ones Jay made instead. Because they are actually static. Is gonna look a bit silly without people, but no hurries. We're gonna add people in a moment as well. I just wanna throw down some of the suitcases first. Yeah, I think not even the change of color in general, because I do think the change or the color for some of the models is very fine, but I think maybe some more color variation, because the reality of these cacti in real life is that they are really variants in color, right? The old ones are some of them are pretty dark.
Some
The young
Latinos up here.
ones are pretty varied, so is a big mix out of both of them. And welcome in Elgendo. Nice to see you, cutie. Have you tried Gaga Cactus in game already as well? Oh yeah, it's an outbreak. I'm gonna wait till you guys are over. Yeah, no worries, Reffe. You're still working, I would guess. Otherwise, I'm curious if you already tried Gaga's Cactus, because I am as happy about the game as I've not been in a long time. I don't understand why sometimes these are so weird with terrain. And now this is actually going to be an interesting one for me. I've not tried this out. This might not work at all and be really silly. But I want to try if we can manage to actually sit somebody inside of here. So we'll try to roughly get him to a correct level. Probably this is gonna be horrible. Yeah, this was too low, but I think we can get this to work if we position him correctly. Yeah, sorry, the ad break started, so I wasn't sure if I should keep talking or not. What I said is, I think when I imagine these cacti in real life, I do think they have a lot of different colors, right? Like if you look at an old one like this, I think especially the very old ones, they often get very dark. Maybe this is slightly too dark, but I don't think this is too dark much. Because when they're old, they do get very dark. But then this size, this would be a lot lighter, right? And I think a lot of the color of the cacti is actually just down to the age of them. Because I mean, I guess even in humans, I think you see the same effect, right? Where skin of old people looks generally a bit darker and older, and it's the same for plants. Doesn't matter if it's a leaf or a palm tree or a cactus, really. They are a lot lighter if they are younger. So I think one thing that could add a lot of realism is if the bigger and older ones are a bit darker than the lighter and smaller ones. I'm not sure how to do vegetation. I'm not sure what possibilities you have if you give a color mask to all of them, or if you can fine tune the color of all of them individually. No idea. Very uncertain of it. So, again, questionable. Okay, so you've, but only two. Because that actually answers quite a bit of my question already. I was wondering if you have a color variation for any of the ages, right?
I wish we
Or
had a
if you have
cactus.
only one of them. I welcome in Suli. Nice to see you here. Yeah, I'm sure there is somebody in my chat right now who's gonna make more professional and better a full-fledged golf pack eventually. But this is my shitty quick throw. I'm just building a backyard, right? This is just a mansion. I don't want a proper golf club. Something luxurious as golfing is not open to the public in Los Vagos. It's only a sport for rich people. So I don't need much. I just needed some small props to go in and build a realistic golf scene. So I'm sure other people can do better than me, but I'm very happy with how this works, and I especially am happy because I think this entire district we've been building here, I think maybe actually you will appreciate this, Sulim, because I think this is fairly LA mentioned like. In my case, this is the housing for my spoiled and rich government employees. So obviously this is well protected and a bit more fancy than most of the gardens we have everywhere in Los Vagos. But yeah, went pretty hard here on detailing these backyards. Also, in some of the gardens, I've been using quite a few of your ploppable sims. Is one of the things I have to do still, and go in with the sims. Maybe actually, I'm not sure. Maybe I deleted them. Maybe I can show you the issue I've been having with your swimming pool sims. Otherwise, if you're interested, I can at least describe you what weird behavior with them I've been seeing. I'm trying to see if I can find a case of this happening somewhere in these gardens. But yes, I do think for you the vibe of this is actually pretty interesting because it has that typical LA hillside mansion style, and it's for me a neighborhood to really mainly showcase these pools that I've been building. And in this pool, we had this as example multiple times happening in the past. So basically, what's happening, and I love your sims, all of them are perfect. The two ones that I've been having some very weird things happening are these two, the adult female and the adult male. And now what happens, and I don't understand why this happens, I can place them in the pool, right? Like find some fitting model without shirt, maybe this gentleman, and I place him somewhere here where it should be. And I place this person here, and with this, I'm already happy, I guess. If I save and reload my save, they will not be here anymore. One of them will swim somewhere here, one of them will swim somewhere here. And I had this repeatedly. I was thinking I'm doing something wrong in the past, so I rechecked this multiple times. This is not a me problem. Maybe I'm not pointing fingers. Maybe this is a me problem, as in there is some mod in my playset that is somehow conflicting with your sims. I sadly did not get anybody to test this for me yet. If they have the same happen, it only happens with these. And I don't understand why. I can send you a link of a VOD where we've seen this happening. If you want to investigate, I think it should be very easy for you to redo this. This was not happening in the past, but they changed position. And I'm again, maybe we even have a place where this happens. And yes, all of these are my pools, Sulim. I can show them real quick because I think they actually turned out pretty nice. I've been tricking around a bit with a water shader, and I'm underscaling the UVs of the water to make it look a lot more calm than the vanilla water shader. But you can see that depending on the light level, you actually get to see into there. So it's very. I'm quite happy with these. I personally would have liked those to be even bigger than what I did here. But the truth is, I looked at the builds of other people and they're all so full that I decided if I make them bigger, it will not work at all. But yes, here, look at this. This is what I'm really proud about is you see, it's a bit difficult to see here, but you see the props changing, right? I use a lot of randoms for this with different spawn rates. So basically, you can go through and depending on like what you click through, you get pre-detailed different variations with different like rings and pool noodles and stuff like that. No, I will release those as soon as I have the build finished, and then we have a. Each pool has a version without water as well. I think these look beautiful. I actually water is expensive, so in Los Vagos, people will only have water in their pool if they work for the government. Otherwise, water is not something that they will get. This pack is entirely done. Like, I literally only need to take screenshots and then I will upload it. And I've been saying this for a week now. That's why welcome in Kunst. Kunst is bullying me and saying it's been 2 days now because I promised him that I will upload them very soon. And then I kinda started the golf pack on accident because I needed them for the backyard. So I kinda sidetracked a bit. But yes, this is the pools. I am honestly very happy with these. I don't think they are anything special, but I do think they're a lot nicer than the vanilla pools. Mainly because I do something that you're not supposed to do. And I use the water shader in a way how it should not be used. Yeah, exactly. I quite literally See, if you want a typical Dogtown pool, this is it. Is right here. This is the perfect empty skateball pool. So I think this works very solid for that. But yes, this and the golf props, I will probably upload both of that this weekend. And that weird hillside district I've been building for a while yet. I didn't get to play much lately, so progress has been slow. But basically, that district is to showcase both of them. Or in fact, that district was only to showcase the pools, and then accidentally I sidetracked into building a bit of a golf backyard. Because Konst will be very happy about this, because Konst bought this mansion in the build. And look, Konst, I think especially with what I've been working on instead of finishing the pool pack, your mansion looks so goddamn hot now. And look at the cactus. Look at how many. You are literally the first person in Los Vagos to have cactus in their yard. Because you have a lot of cactus here. You have a golf place. You have all of these small bridges. I think the only real thing we need in your garden is a little more vegetation in this border here. Because I want your garden to be very much like an oasis. Because you're a government employee in this. Otherwise, you would not be living in this area of the city. So while everybody else has little water and cannot afford to water their garden, you absolutely do. So I will have to go in with a bit more vegetation. Yeah, wholeheartedly, I cannot even be proud or happy of my own things I've done just because I think this boring shit here gets overshadowed so hard by Gaga's perfect cactus. Because wholeheartedly, what an absolute beauty. And I was thinking that probably I would make my own cactus in a few months from now when being a bit more comfortable in Blender. I don't think I could have done this as good as Gaga done it. Like wholeheartedly, 10 out of 10, really well made. So I'm very satisfied. And I've been contemplating a bit if I make this public or not, but now there's a few people in here at least. I think most of you are aware already, but me and a few others have made the EA content creator program as well, which I'm happy about. I wasn't so sure if I want in prior, because I actually love speculating about what happens to the game. And I guess I'll be able to speculate a bit less, but I do think I can also a lot more directly give feedback to the game, especially in areas where it's a bit more lacking. So I hope this goes for the betterment of the game. And as somebody who's in the EA server now, I don't want to say too much, but I think we can at least tell that Ice Flakes is a lot more open to newer content creators and players by now. So I think that's a great sign as well, like wholeheartedly great sign. Yes, Sully, look, the tree Gaga is not doing anything halved as. So we have 3 different cactus at the moment. This is the small one. And all of them use different ages. They're not actual dead models, but hold on, we can just use a variation of all 5. And now, if we go in, we can delete this in a moment. I'm just gonna go in here on the street. You see, we get different age variations, right? Like it's literally different variations and models of them. I love it. It's so cool. Gaga managed to include this, and I'm sure learned a lot about this. Maybe you actually wanna talk to Gaga about vegetation because maybe you've been trying to do some as well. And I think Gaga actually learned a lot on this. So I'm sure you probably are aware of many of these things already as well. I have not worked with vegetation myself, so I would have no clue how to do this properly. I expected this to just be a prop when Gaga showed it to myself, but yes, Gaga is not doing any half-ass stuff, as we can see here. It's many very interesting variations. Yeah, I'm obviously Sully. Like it's a Gaga pack. Gaga will take weeks and months to make anything in this game, but for those weeks and months that Gaga is taking, you can also be guaranteed that it's well polished and flat and will have all LODs and is very well optimized. Yes, but Gaga is working with imposters for this. In fact, I think it's what Gaga struggled with the most, to my understanding. So I think Gaga was fighting a long time to get the imposters working correctly. Actually, that's why you took so long to remove them and use LODs. Well, yes, I better ask Gaga himself because he's been spending a lot of time on this and experimenting a lot. So I'm sure he can tell you better than anybody else. What I was really pleasantly surprised about Sully, because I know you're also interested in vegetation, when the new custom vegetation came out, especially all of these nice ones by Podlemo, I was a bit scared that it means I have to redo a lot of the vegetation in our build, because I wasn't sure how well the custom ones work together with the vanilla vegetation. Absolutely not needed to be worried. I think it's perfect. I do think they work together absolutely flawless, and it just gives us more variation, but it doesn't really force you to go back on anything and fix it back up again. So, big fan of that, because I wholeheartedly expected that I would have to go back and redo a lot more vegetation than it was needed. Yeah, I also love them, like all of them. For me, obviously, in Los Vagos, the tree is not as interesting as for most other people, like the leafy tree he made. I think that looks beautiful. It's just that I don't use a single leafy tree in Los Vagos, so that does not work well for me. But yes, everything is perfect. And then my absolute favorite are this one, this fern kind of thingy. And this is my by far favorite. It is so small and so good that it works really well. Like for me, the main reason why I like the small flowers so well, I can show nicely in some of the result stuff he made. Yes, here for example. We had so many places in the past where it would be so nice to put some small flowers in, but we never had anything in a size fitting for it. And now we finally have a flower that's small enough to actually go into small planters and flower beds and such. So big fan. Also, I can see that these are not perfectly aligned. Now this is a bit better. But yes, also I am so happy and I still have to like use those a lot more. But your sitting sims also do such heavy lifting in this build. Like just to have people not just stand around, but something like this. Absolute joy. And I mean, we will treasure the Riza cactus statue forever. But now we have an actual cactus. We will have a bit less need for the Riza cactus statue, I guess. Oh, Suli, look, I have an example. This is one of the swimming sims. I'm not sure if you're still here, but they just teleport into random places. We've been having a few of those. Some of them swim in the floor under plants. Some of them swim in the middle of the air. Why this is happening, don't ask me. It only happens after you reload. You place them, they are perfectly fine. They are exactly where they should be. And then the next time you load back into your save, I don't know why. Probably you're correct, and it has to do something with the animation of those. But they switch position. This one is a curious because I think so far I only realized they are switching in a horizontal level. I would imagine that this one actually comes from this pool, so must have moved upwards. Yeah, no, this is I'm actually wondering, maybe they're from this pool, because this seems to be. Let's check. This roughly follow the cursor. I think it's from this pool. Because I don't think they raise Heath. I have not paid attention to it, but every time I notice them in the past, I only see them move away from the pool. I think it's probably from this pool. What confuses me a bit is how far away it is. Because so far, I would say I've seen them mainly if we're talking about this pool here, maybe in a radius like this around it, like roughly what I'm pointing right now. So if it would be from this pool, that is the furthest distance I've seen yet. Again, I've only seen this happen 2 or 3 times. I played very little lately, but when doing this neighborhood, it was very obvious to me because yes, I always play swimming sims, and then the next time I loaded in, they were gone from the pool and swam in other weird areas around it. Again, would need more testing. I think it's very easy to test, to be honest, because at least in my case, I did not do anything. I quite literally just thrown them down and then they decided to move by their own. So I would expect if you place these two, again, is the adult male swim idol, adult female swim idol. Just place them anywhere where you can remember their position and see if they have moved or not. I believe they will most likely move because that's what they do in my save at least. But again, it could also be that any of the weird mods I'm using has some side effects of doing something to your sims. Again, no idea where the cause is. I have no clue about this technically. I can just tell you what is happening while I'm playing the game. And I'm not sure because I recall I have used them in the past and this did not happen, but I'm not actually certain about it. I might have used a different sim and not the swim idol ones because I don't think they changed anything in regard to them to how they work. So should have not changed. Yeah, again, I don't think it's a problem either, but I think you maybe should remove them. Because yes, maybe if you cannot fix them, and I get that, obviously, you cannot change anything about how the prefabs work. You can just use their prefabs. But I would consider this so problematic because eventually, if somebody, like, I don't know, somebody has a really big pool and he puts 50 people swimming in there, then he has 50 randomly swimming sims placed around his map doing weird things, right? So, if not fixable, I think maybe retire those. Yes, if it's again const, please check if it's these two. Adult male swim idle, adult female swim idle. So these two, after you've reloaded, it happens only after you reload. So you need to place them, then close your game and load back into the save. And then you should see if it worked or not. Yeah, I also asked Gaga to check this. I'm not sure. Gaga also had little time lately, so I'm not sure if he did so or maybe forgot about it. But I'm sure we can get other people to test this as well. Hey, if you can check right now, then even better, so you can get information right away. And no worries, and welcome in, Luca. Nice to see you here. Hope you're doing well. I am playing too little lately. I'm actually slow at doing these kind of things. And I have to say, I barely use those new fences from Bridges and Ports. These two are beautiful. I need to keep them in mind more. Like this one, absolutely beautiful. And the other similar one that is a bit like a chain fence with boulders, also beautiful. Both of them should see a lot more usage. I'm also doing good, Luca. I have multiple exciting news. The most exciting news is not about myself, but about Gaga XM, who is the friend of the channel and an absolutely amazing modder in this game. Gaga has been making us this. Because you know how long I've been talking about needing a cactus and wanting a cactus. And now look at this. We do have cactus in our build, and it's very exciting. Like, I'm wholeheartedly, this is the best thing that happened to the game in a long, long time. So this alone makes me feel absolutely wonderful. And then I have other cool news. One of the cool news is I made a golf pack, which I think is very cool. So big fan of this as well, because we can make some nice golfing happening. I will release those this weekend. Very small things I need to fix still, because I realized that some of the things I've been trying with the hole, I've been not doing great. And then there is a second pack that hopefully I can put out this weekend, and it's these pools. I think you've seen already that I use in this neighborhood that I've been working on recently. I really have both of these finished beside very, very small cleanups, but I need screenshots. So we need to finish this neighborhood so I can take screenshots of these. But yes, all of that together, very nice. And then I also got an accepted for the early access of this game. So I'm now one of those annoying EA people. So you're welcome to call me Ice Flake Shill or whatever you think. I'm not sure about it. I barely had any time to check their Discord yet, but I think it's nice. I've seen that there's a lot of like newer, very good cities creators that gotten invited, which I think is a great sign. I do think it looks like they are trying to open up to a bit of a broader place or to a broader community and get more creators involved. So very nice. Of cities, like the EA, the creator program thingy. So in future, I can try the beta builds and like have a more direct way of giving feedback to the game. So that I was a bit surprised. Like there's multiple funny things. First things is I was fairly lazy on my application, not because I would not have liked to gotten accepted. I'm very happy I did, but because I'm not 100% sold, not because I think the EA creator program is not very nice, but just because I really like speculating of what happens to the game in future. And I guess I will be able to speculate a little less now. So that was one of the reasons why I half-assed it a bit. And then I had very little time in that week, so I just rushed it out because I wasn't sure how long people can apply to it. So I think my application was fairly ass. And the funniest thing about all of this is I made a typo in my email address. So some days ago, Bad Peanut messaged me and he told me to check my email. And I was like, I check my email every day. I've not gotten an email, but what am I looking for? And then he was like, that is weird. Like, you should have an email. And I'm like, well, I don't. And then he was like, okay, can you tell me how your email address is written? So I went ahead and told him how my email address is written, and turned out like an absolute professional. I made a typo in my email address in the application. So they invited me some days ago, but could not reach me because I made a typo like an absolute idiot. So typical good start as an absolute idiot, to be honest. So I cannot say much. I mean, I guess so. And yes, Sully has been there since before I even know Cities Skylines existed. Like, as most of you are aware, I had my Twitch anniversary like a few weeks ago. I actually had no time to stream, so it just faded away. But I know that I should be playing the game for like a year and maybe 2 months, a year and 3 months, a year and 4 months, something around those margins now. So I am very new to the city's fair compared to many of the creators. I have to admit, even, and I obviously I cannot name any names, but there is a lot of people in that early alpha or in the creator program whose name I've never heard, which is not, I'm not trying to bully people. This is me not knowing about the game. I'm trying to say I'm fairly clueless about the history of cities. So anybody who has not made any content for cities in the last year will be pretty much unknown to me, just because I don't know about things that happened prior to that. But I'm glad that I will get to know, like, I'm sure I will get to know more nice people. Because, for example, Sully, you recommended Dirty Harry to me. You remember that? And I've been watching a lot of Dirty Harry videos after you recommended him to me, because absolutely amazing. But again, he even made videos for CS2, but not since I was playing the game. So to me, he was entirely unknown. I don't think I'm skilled at this game. I think I just take my time. I think a lot of people think I'm good at this game because my build is cute. I think I just take a lot of time because the truth is, I've built this little piece of ass in like a year now. Most people build this in 2 weeks or a month, right? So I think it makes sense that mine maybe looks a little nicer than that. I welcome in Q team and thanks for the sub. How was your evening out? Yeah, I also think Dirty Harry is amazing. I did not know him because he made stuff for the game before I started playing the game. So that's the only reason, but very cool. I mean, I love building small cities, but then I also have to admit that by now there is quite a lot of actually very nice skyscraper assets out there. At the start, I wasn't the biggest fan of some of them, but especially in the recent few weeks, there's been a lot of very great skyscraper assets. I'm itching a bit to start building a bit bigger and getting to be able to use some of them. So maybe soon. Because again, I've always planned on building a bigger city there and probably also a second, even bigger city there. I was never so tempted by the assets, but for example, this one, I just plopped it down here randomly to have a look at it. But what an absolute beauty this is. I don't like most skyscrapers, and especially I don't like most modern skyscrapers. But this one, for example, is really cute. Is that also some of the creator, some CS1 creator or CS2 creator? I have to admit, maybe you given me a new interesting name. I've never heard of that person before. Which again is me being uneducated about city history, not me being ignorant. If that is a creator, please be so nice and post a link or even just his name in my Discord, because I always forget these things while I'm playing. But I would like to check it out. I had a lot of fun looking at Dirty Harry. I don't know. I heard about that before, I think, because people were talking about that in my Discord, but I've never seen that. Yeah, gladly, if you don't mind, Suli, to send it. And my internet is dying currently. Can you guys hear me? I can see that my internet keeps going up between 1,000 upload and the bandwidth that I should have. So I hope you guys can hear me and my stream is not dying. It might be currently dying. If so, I'm sorry. I've been plagued by a bit of tech issues lately. I wanted to stream on Thursday as well, but I literally crashed twice while loading into the game and then decided to not stream because I guess it wasn't supposed to be. But yeah, now my internet seems better again, so I hope it's fine. Okay, I like that. I never know. In one of my recent streams, I actually had my internet die shortly before I wanted to raid out and stop streaming. So I'm a bit worried these last days how well it survives. Hmm. This place is a tad too empty. I'm not sure if we either just go in here with vegetation to make this a very green surrounded soccer area, or maybe we should actually build some small kind of outlook there. But it's a private soccer field in somebody's backyard, so probably I'm going a bit overboard here. And Sully, you told me earlier that you were gonna load or not Los Vagos, that you'd load Los Angeles the first time in a long time. Did that work? Did did you actually end up loading? And if so, are you fine? I hope so. But I think you should be, because honestly, I don't think in recent months there has been anything that is breaking the game. So I would imagine at least that you should be okay. Huh, maybe this is not a bad idea to give this area a bit of like a reason. We're gonna try something here. Maybe some kind of reason platform for people to have an especially nice view from. And thanks, Suli, for posting. Appreciate it. And cons, I have to, now you're here. I should have done so earlier, where it was less people. But I need to also give you a proper, like, overview of your property and ask you if you have any wishes of what you need still. I added a few nice Easter eggs to your property as well. So I hope you appreciate. Okay, we can put this something like this. Obviously, the terrain is broken now, but we're just gonna go in and fix that up. I suck at terraforming, so let's see if we manage to do this appropriate right away. Have to be careful here that we don't go too close to the pool. See here or to the field, I mean, not the pool. What am I even saying? A very little here. I think we just gonna flatten that here. I hate how big the terrain like patches are and how far away you need to be. We can just move it a little further over here and then we should be able to terraform this fine. Yeah, now we're not touching the field and we can just move the bench here slightly. Oh, yeah, okay. My local asset folder, I just decided it's gonna stay a horrible mess forever because my local assets folder is so chaotic. There is no way in God's earth how I can sort that easily. So I'm just avoiding that, Sully. I'm impressed that you actually go in there and clean up. But yes, I also miss LA. I mean, obviously, real life always comes first, but we are glad to see more LA series if you have time again. But I'm the last one to talk. I also been streaming little and in general playing fairly little lately. But yeah, especially in LA, I'm sure you will have a blast as well. If you have not played this long, I have not played fairly long after Bridges and Ports, and when I came back to the game, it was like Christmas. While I'm sure that we can all agree that there is a lot of nonsense getting uploaded onto PDX mods as well. In between all of that nonsense, there is a few absolutely amazing uploads as well. And for me, again, because our build is so small, quite a lot of those amazing uploads are not super relevant for me just because I cannot use them due to their scale. But in LA, I'm sure you can pretty much use everything you want because you have both a bit more rural parts as well as an actual proper big downtown. So I'm sure it's gonna be an absolute blast. I mean, that's very nice. I'm sure some of those free time also will be dedicated to going to the pub as you're a British person, and I guess you're legally required to show up in the pub every few days, else you will feel consequences. Oh, actually, that's impressive. I have been fairly late and little with custom assets as well, so it's not like I use many of them. But I'm not even sure. So if you've been playing so little, I'm sure Stark you told you about it. If Stark you hasn't told you about it, there is a very big game changer happening to custom assets. Let's find a cute custom asset like this bank by Algendo. So this is what we have, and you see this, the static ploppable builder. One of the things why I did not like custom assets much is because you get terraforming and everything and a functional asset. This allows you to take any asset in the game, even the custom ones. Why are we not selecting it properly? There we go. and you click on this, and your game lags for a small moment, and now you have a static ploppable version of this. Unfunctional, you can do whatever you want, you can use star cube block with it. It enables so much freedom, and it makes a lot of the custom assets actually a lot more interesting to me, because I love the meshes of many of them, but sometimes I think you have quite little flexibility in how to use them. Not anymore. That mod being a thing now is an absolute present. I don't know how to say it any different, because goddamn, the amount of freedom is amazing we gain from it. And since you've not played in a while, I'm not sure if you are aware of that, because that mod is criminally under subbed for now. So I keep pointing it out to people, so hopefully that changes in future. Yeah, I've seen that. For me, to be honest, I don't think I need that very much. Because the reason why I think ploppable is nicer than the terraforming toggle is that I don't like the concrete basis of stuff. In fact, if you look at something like my pools, I think what a lot more people in this game should be doing, I model slightly underground and then I disable terraforming. You see here, but you see that it extends a little bit below the ground. So even if you have bad terrain, it will just go under where it has to be. And I think with how many people are building stuff, it stops exactly at the ground level at 0. And then as soon as the terrain is not perfectly flat, it looks silly. So there's gonna be few situations, I think, where I'll use the terrain toggle. But great to have, nonetheless, of course. Have you not even, now actually thinking about it, Suli, you made custom assets yourself. Have you not even loaded into LA once to at least place your own stuff? So you can admire your beautiful brickworks, for example. I didn't even think about that when you said it, but now thinking about it, that is crazy. Stop making assets and play the game and enjoy it, enjoy the beautiful game we have as well. And then go back to making assets because we want more of your beautiful assets. But wholeheartedly, I think the game is in an amazing state at the moment. Sure, also a lot of things that are still wrong with it. It's not perfect, but I've been having so much fun playing Cities lately. Holy. Yeah, then I mean it, Suli. This is obviously I'm not your boss, so it's not like I can give you any orders. But I'm a dictator in Los Vagos as well, so I'm gonna try to give you orders anyways. I force you to play the game a bit before you release your next assets, because goddamn, you will have a lot of fun. I think Brickworks would fit in LA. Not super well, obviously, but I think you can totally like if you run it down a bit, for example, I think that makes for a fairly solid like council housing kind of vibe as well. Obviously, not what you went for with the asset in general, but I think you can always adjust and turn it into something different. And now here I definitely want to fade the grass a bit and give this some variation. Right now this is just a single flat Gaga surface, which already does a lot of heavy lifting. But I don't like how static all of this is, so we're gonna go around here and probably add a few different grass layers to get this a bit more alive. already better. Does very little. Oh, and Sully, I'm not sure if you've seen this, but I just seen the shadow. So where is it? There it is. This is probably the best asset I have and will ever make. We've been spending a lot of time doing flyovers because we have this absolute beauty, which I have not released this yet, but is entirely finished. I'm just waiting for an update to vehicle controller that Konzi has been working
Bye,
on
have a great
lately.
time.
But as soon as that is out, I'm gonna release this, and I absolutely adore this. It just keeps roaming around your city. We have a second one that actually kinda lands on people and abducts them, but not too bad. Bye, Elgando. Thanks for tuning in, and get home well and enjoy your weekend. And I have to say, I never travel too much in LA, but I spend a lot of time in my life in Arizona, and I'd argue Arizona is a lot hotter than LA is. In Arizona, you absolutely see brick buildings. Are they the norm? Totally not. You see them fairly rarely. But do they exist? Absolutely. Especially because I guess they would generally not use red brick. But what you see a lot are those, I don't even know how to call them because I'm not English and I struggle with vocabulary. But those cream kinda sandstone colored bricks in Arizona at least, and that's in the middle of the desert, you see an absolute buttload of those. So I would imagine that in LA you can get away with that as well. Const, I do have to ask a very relevant question because I like it. You totally should. But can you afford so? Because you know that you still owe me a 1590, right? So sure, do it, but only if the budget of the 1590 will allow so as well. Honestly, I could live like this. Spend your weekend in your own garden, looking at people playing soccer in the backyard. Does not seem horrible. I don't like the colors of this yet, but otherwise I like the vibe of this. And I do see that there is an ad break happening sometime soon. So I will, after we did a bit of progress here, because I've not had a break yet, leave you guys alone and send you on a cute UFO ride that I think gives a great overview of the city. And run to the toilet and grab something to drink quick, and then I'll be back with you cuties. There still is a bit of time before that, but I always forget and then panic because the ad break is already starting. So for once, I'm trying to actually be over prepared. Yeah, here we should actually sit some people down. The first thing, because I will never want to forget that, is we need a ball. It should show up like this and not find too much, I hope. Not golf, not this. Soccer ball. And we want the version from J. And interesting, sorry, I didn't even react to that. I seen you message it and then my brain spaced out. Very curious that your Sims also disappeared. Because I don't think they disappeared. Actually, cons go recheck your area. They don't disappear, they move. So you probably still have all of them. They are just swimming inside the floor and inside buildings and stuff like that. So you probably want to go ahead and look around that area a bit and delete a few very visible ones at least. But yes, that's exactly the behavior I had happen in my save as well, where weirdly they just move their position after reload. Holy heck. That LOD of this soccer ball has to be one of the contenders for one of the worst LODs in the game. What in God's earth is happening on LOD 2? Look at this. Absolutely painful. I never realized this before. I don't think the basketball is as bad. In general, I always been confused because I think the LODs in this game are very inconsistent. Like, I think some of the LODs are actually fairly solid, and then others are a pretty big nightmare.
Bye, have a great time.
All right, have a nice weekend, cons, and thanks for tuning in. But yeah, I can guarantee you they moved somewhere, so maybe you'll find weird swimming sims in the future while playing. So if you do, don't be too scared about it. It's just your swimming people moving around. But have a nice evening and thanks for tuning in. And with these, I always struggle a bit to line them up perfect right away, but they should usually be fine if we place them where they should be sitting. Okay, he sits quite far in the front, so next one a bit further back. But that does work. And he can have a neighbor. That looks good enough. And holy shit, again, I said it earlier, these sitting sims make such a big difference. I'm still missing quite a bit of the poses and wish there would be some other ones, but even just the ones we have right now, absolute game changer. I'm loving it. Gonna save the game real quick and then I send you guys on a UFO ride while I run to the toilet and grab something to drink quick. So first things first, find the UFO. There we go, and then adjust the position real quick. That seems solid enough. And with that, I'm gonna run and take a quick break. I hope I won't be too slow, and I'll be right back with you, cuties. Bye bye. Hey, I'm back. Also, I'm curious what people are thinking about the dev diary we've been getting. They put out a dev diary in which I think they mainly talked about performance. And obviously, we don't know how that will impact us, but since my performance is generally not amazing, even a few FPS would help me quite a bit. So I'm wholeheartedly hopeful. Saying excited, I guess, is a bit too much, but I'm hopeful that this will bring us some more frames in Los Vagos, because we're not missing much frames to have a very smooth experience, but my game is not running at smooth 30 FPS anymore. And if that would be the case, then I would be very happy. Which again is not it's not City's fault. I'm on a very weak weak graphics card, so it's totally my fault. Regardless, some more performance optimization, and even just like 3, 4 more frames, 1, 2 more frames would go a long way for us here in Los Vagos. I don't like the surface. Do we like the shape? I do think I like the shape of it at least. So I'm not entirely sure. This backyard actually does not have very much space with the soccer. Obviously, they have an entire soccer yard in the or soccer park in their garden, so it's not like it's a small garden, but the area we have left over is not that big anymore. And I'm gonna try to keep staying with the Gruni surfaces in this area here, because this entire district is dedicated to Gruni. So we should try to also use most of his stuff. Do I have to recheck? Yeah, we're already using the same surface here and there. No way we can use that this close again. This one, I'm never sure. I quite like it, but the color of it is so strong. I actually do think it works pretty solid in that area though, so I do think we can use it here and get away with it. The question is what else we want and need in this backyard. Maybe if Sully is still here, or if Gaga is finished with a cactus one day, one of the things we're severely lacking in this game is props. Not buildings, but props. I should listen to that myself, because after these new packs, the next two, I will actually make some buildings as well that I started a while ago. But realistically, I would be hoping for more people to make normal and small props for us to detail with. Because especially in a neighborhood like this one, where we have such big worked out gardens, it is actually difficult to make those unique, because realistically, we only have the same few props to recycle. And I'm trying to manage to give each of these gardens its own identity, but yeah, I think more or less successful. And sir, why are you driving in a bicycle? You are rich and you would live in the United States of America. You should drive a big diesel truck instead. I'm curious, Gaga, if you think about props, what area of the game do you think we lack the most props for? I would say all of them, of course, but I think some even more so than others. Yes, I knew. That's why I said it quickly, because yes, I knew you would just say all. But it's not the answer I expect of you, so try again. if you cannot say all, but you have to lock in maybe 2 or 3 categories where you think we have the biggest lack of assets, which 2 or 3 ones would you be going for? Because I would say for me that actually should be fairly easy. Yeah, I would also say garden, residential, and industry most. But yes, the third area probably, if I'd have to go for a third one as well, would be nature related things. Like, I don't even know, boulders, plants, anything really. Like, even benches, like park props, I think are also lacking heavily. So I might or might not have seen that there is somebody working on a pack of very nice props that I will be looking forward to a lot. Mm, I actually think clarify what you mean with airports before I make a clown of myself and just misunderstand you. You mean props for airports, or you actually mean airports like built out already? Yeah, I would agree on harbor, but then I don't have water in my city, so I don't miss harbor props. Otherwise, yes, I would probably also say I miss harbor props, but due to not having water, I don't. Okay, as buildings, then I agree. Actually, there was a rural airport posted a few days ago that I still want to test out. It does not look very interesting, but I don't think most detailers need it to be very interesting. I think most detailers just need a base airport that they can work over. Yeah, actually, I'm gonna post something in my Discord and tag you later, Maestro, because there has been a rural airport released a few days ago. I have not tested it, and it looks very, yes, functional rural airport. A very basic, just a single landing strip and not pre-detailed much. But that would be what I personally would be wishing for as well. So we can redo it. But yes, I was gonna say what Gaga is mentioning now. My problem with small airports, I have a somewhat small airport, though it's broken because we built that many months ago. Goddamn frames. But we have this airport. Back when I was making this airport, we did not have the asset editor yet. So this is a lot more lacking than what we could do nowadays. But my biggest issue with this was that I would have liked this to be a bit smaller. I do think this turned out very nice and pretty rural, but but the smallest planes we had back then, and I don't think even now we have many smaller ones, is roughly this size. That does not allow for a super small airport. Like wholeheartedly, I agree with Gaga. I wish we had more like really small propeller planes and then like I don't know, some smaller private jets and private airplanes. Because again, I do think this works solid. But if you want like an even more rural, smaller airport, it will always look silly because then you still use airplanes in this size on it. And an airplane in this size would not fly at an incredible rural airport. So a bit weird. Also, yeah, again, this airport is broken. I should revisit this sometime. Also, welcome in, Mono Pickets. Nice to see you. But yes, we built this a few months ago, so forgive that it's a bit outdated. But yes, I think smaller planes will be super cool to be able to build an even more rural airport than this. Otherwise, I think the props for airports are one of the areas where we're better equipped. Have a good night, Gaga, and thanks for tuning in as always. And an even bigger thanks for,
Bye,
I'm
have
gonna
a great
keep
time.
pointing this out all the time. Gaga has given us the biggest. Oh, holy shit.
My God! Okay, it's happening. Everybody stay calm. What's the procedure, everyone? What's the procedure? Stay calm!
Welcome in, Raiders. Welcome in, cuties. Hope you had a wonderful stream today, Museum. I tuned in earlier as well, but then eventually, because I have not streamed in a long time, I decided I want to stream a little as well. And I was just gonna show Monopicket something, what I can even better show now, because there's a few very excited things happening in Los Vagos. Also, I hope you had a nice stream and welcome in everybody. But we've been working on this weird hillside mansion area. And the most exciting thing that's been happening in Los Vagos in a long time is this. I can zoom in even closer so it gets more obvious what I'm talking about. But you guys see what we have here? Maybe I'm the only one being this excited for it. But I am very excited. Everybody who watches me a bit more regularly knows how much I've been waiting for a cactus. Well, also, the Supra is very cool. I will agree on it. So I understand why people think I mean the Supra. The Supra we have since a while. It's so, like, it's a great model, beautiful. But no, the thing that gets me so excited actually is this cactus. And not only the cactus, I myself might have made some more assets lately as well. I think some of you people know that I've been working on a pool pad lately. And I've been building this area so I can show off the pool stuff I've been doing, which is nothing special, really, just pools with and without water in them. But stuff like this, I guess, is why we built this. But the cactus is by Gaga. Yes, Gaga has been working on the cactus. It's not finished yet, so probably it's gonna take a bit more to actually be fully released, but I am so excited already. Like, I think even with those few little cactuses I placed here, I'm so happy. Like, I wholeheartedly am so happy about these, because the vegetation was always a bit questionable in Los Vagos due to not having a cactus. And now we have a cactus and we have these golf things to make a proper golf scene. And again, we have the pool things that we've been placing. So I think probably this weekend I will be able to release the pools and the golf stuff and can go back to other things I started before. But I'm very satisfied. Yeah, no worries, of course, Museum. Thanks for the raid, and good luck getting your package out there quick enough. But yes, welcome in. This was what I was just about to show mono pickets, and I'm glad I can show all of you. And I guess for the few people who care about it, I also have somewhat nice news, at least for myself, and we gotten added to the creator program from Cities. So in future, I will be able to give a bit more direct feedback about stuff and check out beta builds and such. So very cool. Yeah, with the editor stuff again, I've been trying to get into it a bit, but some of the areas are not greatly documented yet. So I'm still carefully feeling myself in there, but I can only recommend everybody to give it a shot. It tedious and a bit infuriating, but it is very fun and rewarding, I think. And while some stuff is very difficult to make, just do easy things like I did to begin with and do something like garages or something simple that is not as overwhelming as making a like full-fledged gigantic pack right away. And have some patience with yourself, and then I'm sure most people can make amazing assets for this game. And thanks so much, Maestro. Very cute of you. And also thanks a lot, Mono Pickets, that you like it. We've been trying. We don't have many fancy places in Los Vagos, but this area is supposed to be a kind of gated community housing area, which I'm not sure how great at this I done, but is supposed to be mainly for government workers who actually are allowed to have a bit more nice things in life. So these people generally have fairly cute and luxurious gardens, I would say. I mean, I've been trying to use the editor. Holy shit, the hype train. Big thanks, nice cuties. But yes, thanks, Winter. Like, I feel a bit sad because you know specifically that I also been diving fairly heavily into map making part of the editor. And I think that's a really fun side of the editor that I would like to revisit in future. I've been stalling about that a bit just because I enjoy other sides of the editor a lot as well. And when I dived into the map making stuff, we did not yet have custom meshes. And then shortly after I dived into the map making stuff, we got in full access to the editor. And since I've been slacking on any map related things, I can only sadly point out, which I would like to revisit into, but I also figured when we get Los Vagos that probably, or when we get the editor, that Los Vagos probably is gonna die and we cannot continue building in here. And luckily I was wrong and Los Vagos survived perfectly fine. So I'm not ready yet to abandon this, and I don't have the mental capacity to build more than a single city at the same time. I'm impressed with people who can do that, and I like if other people do that, but I don't think I could really get invested into a save if I build multiple. But appreciate that, Winter. How come you have so little playtime in the game, Pickett? Yeah, I know, Teddy, and I would agree, but wholeheartedly, one of the things that makes me sad about changing maps so rarely is that there is so many great and talented map makers in this community, and I have not tried enough of them just because I re-roll save so rarely, but there is so many maps that I've seen in the last months that I would love to build on. But yeah, due to me sticking to my saves for a long time, I can't really try out nearly as much as I would like to. I think that's definitely one of the things where it is a bit of a sad bite taste if you re-roll saves quite little. Yeah, I mean, I check out new maps sometimes, and I'm very impressed, honestly. Like the quality of what's been uploaded with maps lately is fabulous. Like a lot of really beautiful things out there. Yeah, but I agree with you, Obelix. Also, welcome in. Sorry, I didn't properly react at first. Really, that's so curious. Why do you say it enrages you, Pickett? What makes you angry about playing City Skylines? Having too little patience, or what is it that annoys you? Because I think I had that with CS1. I think when I tried CS1 many years ago, I just was lacking patience, so I never really given the game a fair try, just because I was too impatient while playing it. And I do think if you're impatient, then it's a bit difficult. And how are you doing, Graham? Nice to see you here as well. But what if Gray enjoys your company and he wants to follow you? What are you gonna say and do about it? Maybe Gray just wants to be wherever you are, and I couldn't blame him for that. And why am I so blind? I'm looking for specific assets in here that we must have scrolled over. Not these, but there is some other playground assets I'm looking for. Why did I not see them? I'm so blind while scrolling find it. I keep missing things. Maybe we'll scroll over them again and have to go back. I cannot be this blind. Okay, there we go. Finally. Sorry for that. I'm legally blind. I'm trying my best, but it's not easy for me. You cannot mess up in this game. In fact, one of the things that I consider to be the most fun in this game is that you cannot mess up. You can always just go back and delete it and try again. And I do think there is many very different ways how to play the game, right? Like while I love doing this, and I basically don't really play City Skylines, but I'm playing like a mix out of Sims 4 and Tropico, probably. I think there is many players who play the game very different than me, and it's super enjoyable to watch. One of my best examples for this will always be Infrastructurist, because I think he builds incredibly different to me, and he's fast and he zones, but he takes his time and makes so very interestingly. I love it. Or even Teddy is a good example. I personally could not imagine playing this game vanilla slash very lightly modded, but then I very much enjoy it when Teddy plays the game because there is people who can make vanilla very fun and interesting to watch, and the big upside to over detailing everything as much as I do is that you actually see progress in those cities. If you watch somebody like Teddy or Infrastructure is, you don't have to watch multiple months to see a city come together, but you can have the same effect in a few weeks or days even. Thanks, Ren. I'm trying to. Like for me, it's like I always said this is not a race for me. I wholeheartedly just try to make my city in a way where if this would be a game, like a map for a different video game, something like GTA, I want people to find something nice everywhere. So I try to add a lot of like small silly things like this in there or other things where you can lock yourself down with and get something interesting to look at to bring some character into the build. And I'm sure I do better and worse at those, but I'm trying to. I think here we also have a small scene up here because there must have been something horrible happening up here. Yeah, I'm trying to like I think what is a big similarity between my map and GTA as well, which is not an accident because I try to copy GTA in that regard because they do it so well, is scale. I think all of what I'm doing is way too small in scale and way too condensed and full. It should be a lot more spread out. But then I think in a game like this, that is what makes it so full and interesting, that you have all of these things unrealistically close to each other. And I think that that makes it very, very interesting. I think that's totally viable. I think people are very different in that regard, because when you say you need limitations, I very much agree with you. My creativity is also very much helped by limitations. For me, the main thing that helps me being creative is terrain. I need terrain in my builds. If you give me an open map that's just a big plain piece of land, I will be completely overwhelmed and stall out and have like 1,000 possibilities of what I can do there and struggle to build anything. I need constraint in terrain. I need something that forces me for my build to be limited. So I very much get that. I can also see that with mods. I think due to the scale I play in, I do like to have a lot of freedom for going up in close and have a lot of freedom in what I do build wise. But I don't disagree. I can totally see how constraint helps creativity in that regard. But yes, for me, it's been exactly like you're saying, Teddy. I think it totally makes sense to find your own limitations and what you like to fight with and struggle with, and where you like to limit yourself with. And I guess for people that can be very, very different. Like, I know that, especially if you look at maps on PDX mods, for example, I find so many of them incredibly beautiful. But for me, a lot of them have too much buildable area because, like I just said, having a lot of buildable area really overwhelms me, makes it a lot more difficult for me to build a cute and nice looking fast build. So I think it's really different. But I get that when I was new to the game a year ago, I was the exact opposite. I also just wanted a big open area where I can dive in and build right away without struggling. Really, for me, it's the exact. I find that a very interesting point of view, Winter, because I would argue for me it's probably the exact opposite. Due to us having, I think it's gotten a lot better, but we do still have a somewhat limited pool of assets, right? So if I do a one by one, I think I stall out and get frustrated because I do think some things you can still not really catch the vibe of correctly. You are lacking tools still to pull it off convincing enough. And especially in one by ones, I really struggle with that. If I try to do a one by one, then I get too overly picky with it actually being a one by one and a true recreation. And then I style out, and I find it a lot easier for my creativity to do the exact opposite. And I never have a really true vision of what I want to build, but I just scroll through, find it, and look at different things, and then I know a vibe I want, and I know what kind of feeling I want to transport in a build. But how I build it out is generally 100% down to the assets I find and what I decide looks good and what what asset I feel like I it's fun to build around with, and I really stall out if I do it the other way around. And after yapping so long, because this is a very interesting discussion, sorry, I'm gonna have to catch up on chat real quick because a lot of you have messaged a lot, probably interesting stuff, but I cannot talk and read, so give me a moment. It's so funny, Teddy, because I have the exact same as you, but in other areas of the game. I think for me, it's really exactly the same. If I have a map with too much open space, it completely makes me blank out. I feel overwhelmed. I don't feel like I can build anything without taking a wrong choice because there is so much space that I need to pre plan and consider. And if I'm limited by terrain, all of that anxiousness about how to tackle a situation goes away for me. It's very funny because you seem to have a very similar feeling to me, just that for you it's about the assets more and the mods than about terrain, for example. Yeah, for me, for example, winter, the scale is a big one cause of Los Vagos basically being very small and flat. There is so many amazing buildings that it uploaded on PDX that just don't work in my scale, right? Where I would be loving to use them, but they just don't fit, and I think that limits you heavily as well. I do think I would also feel that way, the same way you feel, Teddy, if I would have not started playing this game fairly early, because I started playing not at the launch of Cities, but right before they introduced all of the region packs. So I basically been on board while they kept adding more and more content to the game, and it allowed me to consume the content in small enough doses that I could keep up with it. I think I always had a fairly good overview of what is in the game, what we currently have, and then yes, we get new stuff. But since I keep like updating myself, it's not so much to take in at once. If I imagine I would start to play the game now, then I think I would be a lot more overwhelmed because then diving into all the DLCs, region packs, all of the mods we have available, I would feel very similar to what you're describing, as in being overwhelmed with so much choice at once. But I think I've been early enough that I kind of avoided feeling that way, if that makes sense. Yeah, I also agree with what you say, Obelix. Sorry, I'm so slow at catching up in chat because I react to everything. But I find starting a new city by far the most difficult part of playing cities for the exact reason you pointed out, cause you have all the freedom and no set style for your build yet and such. So that makes me struggle with it a lot more than when I already have a base that I'm just building onto. So whenever I re-roll into the first ever new save in future, I'm sure you guys will have a blast at seeing how shit at the game I am and how overwhelmed I am if I have less base there, I think. Yeah, I get that, Teddy. Like, again, a very, very valid and interesting way to play the game. Is not mine, but I do think we are very similar in approach there. We just apply it to different areas of the game. But yes, for me, like in assets, I feel the exact opposite. I sub to a lot more stuff than I'm actually using, for example, because I also feel the same. I need alternatives. I need to be able to look at stuff to get a better feeling for what I actually want and how I want my build to feel. But then in terrain, again, that's where I need to be challenged. I just cannot live with open terrain. And when I say terrain, I don't even mean terrain, something that helps me incredibly much in all of these areas of Los Vagos, for example, is not only all of these hills and the terrain we have, but is a railway. I think a railway or a waterways are also really limiting, and it always helps me having a railway in my build that I need to work around and have in mind always helps my creativity a lot, honestly. Can you show I'm so curious because I'm so slow in this game. If you don't mind, Teddy, would you post a screenshot of what you built in a week? Because I think one day I will do a build where I only zone as well, just because I want to try playing the game like infrastructure is does. I don't care about mods or no mods. I'm fine with using mods, but I would like to cut out on a lot of detailing once, just to see how quickly I can achieve building a proper big, nice looking city. Yeah, I again, I'm still catching up, so I'm slow, but I agree with Winter. I actually do envy Teddy a little bit for that as well, to just dive in and not have to think about all of those things. Because yeah, I agree that does actually give a lot of freedom for those things. Because I totally see how it's a curse and a blessing, and I guess I decided to take the side where I get overwhelmed and I like feel anxious about what to build next sometimes because yes, I decided I want all of the options. And really, I can see that. I always say that probably 50% of the time of what we're building here in Los Vagos is not me building, it's me figuring what I want to build because this is not a one by one. There is no Google Maps, there is no, it's just what I imagine to be right. So I think I just really spend a lot of time at figuring what I want to do in certain areas and how to do so correctly instead of actually making progress. And yeah, I guess in that sense, playing zoning is really
Some Latinos
freeing
up here.
because you just dive in a lot quicker and see progress. In a very like it's not something I will ever do, but just just thinking about it, something I always imagined that would be the most optimal way of building a city in cities for me at least would be building it twice because I think zoning is incredibly nice to figure out areas, to dive in and get an idea of what you want where and how you want the basic layout of your city to be. And it's the part where you're playing where it does not hurt much to delete stuff. Because I think what I sometimes dislike about detailing is sometimes I do things wrong. Sometimes I take wrong decisions and then I build those out for 20 hours. And deleting 20 hours hurts a lot more than deleting two. So If you zone and you build the same thing, then I think you're a lot more flexible as in going back and just redoing things the way you think they're more optimal. Where while detailing, I often realize that I take a long time till I'm confident enough about an area where I feel like, okay, now I can go in and detail. And what the solution I came up with, I'm so happy that I know I don't have to rebuild it. So that alone makes me a lot slower, and I think zoning could be actually helpful for me though. And welcome in, Riza. And thanks, Winter. Like for me, it just helps. Like it's in every build, even if I would build a new city, I need a rail in first because you cannot really change rail properly afterwards. So even in this area is a good example of what all of the things I've been talking about are. I don't know what I'm building here. I don't really. There is nothing I looked at that I want to build. I know I want a rail depot here. And I know I want a station somewhere back here. I don't think this layout is optimal yet. I don't like how harsh this rail is here. I want to loosen this area up a little bit. But this takes me a lot of time where I go in and I try to figure out an area where I lay the rail out first and then I try to feel out a general vibe of what I want to go for. Once I'm happy with where the rail is, where the station is, how the rail depot is, and if everything flows through fine here, then is when I feel confident enough to actually go in and detail these areas and touch them up. Meanwhile, now I'm too scared because I don't want to build out something here and then have to go back and redo that. And why are you so late, Riza? You've been out enjoying life and drinking beer instead of being a gamer and spending time in the computer. How dare you? Who allowed you to live life and actually touch grass? I'm curious for the map makers in because there is more map makers in my chat right now than there usually is. And I do still plan on revisiting the map that I have built out quite a bit of, but never fully finished. How do you guys feel about the level of roads and infrastructure in your maps? What compromise do you go between leaving people their own creativity, but giving them enough groundwork that they can dive into a build somewhat quickly without having to spend 3 hours on building a road network and everything there? Because I think that is the most difficult part for me while finishing up the map to decide how much road and infrastructure and such I want to build. Because initially I thought I want to have a lot less, but then I want people to build in weird areas of my map, and some of those weird areas would take, I don't know, 3 hours to get there if you want to build a rural road yourself and you want to not break terrain and have it go there pretty. So I have decided to put a bit more roads into my map than I initially thought, and I just put a lot of them as gravel roads. But that way, if somebody wants to start building in those weird, faraway rural areas, they don't need to invest as much time from the get go to be able to do that. So, curious how you feel about it. Okay, Teddy says I tend to overdo it, which honestly I can see why. Because when I started making that map, I was like, I'm gonna underdo this. I want this very basic and just want people to dive in. But then the more I thought about how I want people to actually play this map later on, the more I felt like I need more base infrastructure in there to make it viable for people to wanna play those things, if that makes sense. And have a good night, Maestro. Thanks for tuning in. And also, I did not point that out today because I'm not going to use it because I prefer the generic old version. But Maestro made a very cute new version of the train that we already have that's a bit more modern and clean than the other ones. Looks amazing. Everybody who has a modern and especially European build will surely appreciate those, especially people who have a German build. So I recommend everybody to check out that very cute train, especially if you have the other models of it, but would like it a bit more clean and modern. But yes, thanks for tuning in, Maestro, and have a nice night. Yes, see, it's very interesting to hear both you and Teddy's opinion on this winter, because before I made the map, I was like, well, but then I give away so much, then I like push their creativity in a certain direction, which I generally don't want to do. But then after reconsidering, I think it's actually less impacting for the creativity. Cause yes, it takes 5 minutes to delete the highway infrastructure, but it takes 4 hours to build the highway infrastructure. So I think it's actually less limiting to overbuild a little and tell people they should delete if they want to. And before I ever made a map, I probably would have disagreed with myself, not thinking about it longer and not being more aware of how it actually works out. So wholeheartedly, very, very nice hearing both of you take on it. Yeah, of course. Like if I put numbers, like I spent over 50 hours just on placing water and redoing sources in my map. So the numbers I put are just a generic idea, not an actual. This takes that long. I tend to take a lot longer on those things because I'm a weird perfectionist degenerate, and I'm sure you, Winter, for example, are also a perfectionist degenerate, so you probably spend 50 hours on some highway infrastructure, not 3 to 4. But again, I don't mean that as in realistic numbers. I just wanted to give any number. And something I never understood, are outside connections a performance hog in this game? Because I've been reading things that disagree with each other. My understanding is every outside connection I add also adds quite a lot more pathfinding to the save. Otherwise, I would like to use a lot more outside connections than what I'm currently doing. But I got told that using too many outside connections will be problematic because I require so much more pathfinding then as well. And if you say one ray line through the map, Teddy, you would not, you would just have one line going through, but you would not put multiple different routes in there already. Hmm. Because for me, that's very curious. I would actually, on my map, I would love to have a lot of like small rural outside connections, but I don't want to do so if that bogs down the pathfinding. At that point, I don't think that's worth it. Otherwise, I do think that it would probably be nice to have a bit more of them. Yeah, but I spent over 30 hours on building highway infrastructure on the map I started working on as well. So I can relate with those numbers, Winter. But then for me, part of that is that I'm shit at road work, so I generally take longer at road work than somebody who's competent in it would. Which I guess is really a lot of me at the game. I think I could be a lot quicker at many things in this game if I'd be better at it. I don't follow. I don't follow your point about low spec players too. You mean not to consider the outside connections for that too much? Yeah, no, I find this very interesting. Like, I'm not saying I have a better solution. Quite the opposite. I'm asking you guys these questions because I realize that I'm not sure about having the right approach there and wanting to see how other people would solve this because I'm not sure my approach for it is a great one yet. So wholeheartedly shoot all away and give me inspiration. Yeah, I agree. I agree. You do make a good point. It's also not that I was like, oh no, I cannot add another outside connection, then people will not be able to play the game anymore. But I do think it's important to have those things in mind at least, that you should be somewhat mindful due to performance. Actually, maybe we should. I've been trying to give all of these gardens a garage as well. Maybe we can even fit one here and add a nice little bit of detail. So let's go in and see which garage we can use. I want to always make sure as well that we don't reuse the same ones too close to each other. This is using that one and this is using that one, so this could be a nice fit for here. Because we don't have that much space. I probably have to correct my decals because I already know or see that they're bleeding quite heavily. And now comes a question where I have to disclose before I don't like this, but I'm curious if there is anybody in my chat who would disagree. How do people feel about pre-laid out actual grids? Because a lot of the maps on PDX mods seem to actually have fully laid out grids already. And I personally have never liked it. I feel like it does impact my creativity a lot, right? Because for example, I think my map is my safe is a great example. All of you know, or many of you know at least, that this is a wonderful map made by the amazing and talented map creator Rafterman, who does amazing maps in general. Rafterman does not want anybody to build here. I'm sure he wants to, and he's happy people do. But the map is not built that way. The map is supposed to be having the city here and having a city up here. That's where there was pre-layouted outside connections. I do like terrain and I do like rural, so I decided I want to build inside of this canyon instead. And I do think if you overdo infrastructure, then you scare people away from those areas. If you underdo it, you don't allow them to go inside of these areas easy enough. So really, it's a difficult like fine line to walk, in my opinion. Okay, yeah, no, I also don't like. I guess with what you're saying, winter, a lot of that seems like because you did not enjoy doing it. But for me, it wouldn't even be about like having to make the grid or not. For me, it would actually be the question if people would appreciate that, because I never have appreciated that. Which again is not a problem. Everybody should make their maps how they want. I'm obviously free to just go back and delete anything I don't like. But those maps with pre-layouted grids always seemed very popular to me on PDX mods. So I'm sure there has to be people who appreciate them, else there would be less of those. Interesting. Okay. And I see that there is an ad break happening. I'm actually a little late, but I'm gonna run to the toilet real quick and grab something to drink. I'm gonna sit you guys into an UFO ride as always during the ad break. I'm a little late here, but we should be fine. There we go. Camera is fine. And with that, I'm gonna run to the toilet real quick while the ad break is running. I should be back with you cuties in 2 minutes or something. And I'm gonna keep catching up on chat because wholeheartedly are very interesting what both Teddy and Winter are saying today. Is like for me as a map making absolute beginner, I learn a lot here. But yes, be right back. I should be gone for only like 2 or 3 minutes. And see you soon, cuties. Bye bye. Hi cuties, I'm back. Holy, even during that break, you guys are still having an interesting discussion. Let me catch up real quick. And yeah, I can imagine that. Like, as somebody who does similar things like this for work, I would imagine that most people have no clue how much these things actually cost. And I was thinking about that as well. Because whenever I think about anybody wanting to commission those, then generally I think people are not aware of how much work goes into those kind of things. So they are not prepared for the numbers of them. Let's say I have the same thing with my work quite often, so I can relate. And in a less serious note, Gray, I don't see the issue with you saying people want to pay you as exposure. Just if you go to the supermarket, just tell a lady at the register, guys, I'm sorry, like I'm a YouTube superstar. I have 20 followers on my YouTube account. I don't have to pay. You guys can be honored that I chose to visit your store today. And please waive off the invoice, because clearly, as a YouTube superstar, you already got paid with exposure. You can afford whatever you want. No need to actually pay your groceries. I think that works perfectly fine, and you should not complain about people offering exposure, because clearly that's a total viable method of paying for your things. You just have to do the same when you go to the supermarket and to the bakery. Just inform everybody. You enter the store, you let them know, hi guys, I'm Grey Noise. I'm a superstar on both Twitch and YouTube. So I will allow you guys to give me everything for free today. And I do think that is fairly generous of you that you even chose to set your foot in that store, and these people should be thankful and gift you with whatever you're asking for. All right, Teddy, thanks for tuning in, and thanks for both your and Winter's interesting like info on map making, because again, I know I've not done any lately. It's not like I've given up that that project. It's just that I do other things as well that I found more interesting recently, but I do totally want to finish the one map I properly started at least. So appreciate it for the input and have a nice night, mate. Yeah, Winter, we do some very similar things for work, so I can relate to that a lot. And I'm sure you can feel it as well. I think that's gotten a lot worse as well, since AI is as accessible as it is right now. I do I do all kind of design, but I mainly do UI stuff, and I do some front end stuff. I don't love it, so I try not to do it. But I can do quite a bit of what a programmer would do. So depending on the project, I also am fairly involved on the front end side at least. It's why I never want to do a code map mod for this game, because I already
I am moving in, boy.
I already absolutely hate and despise React during work hours. So I don't want to ever have to deal with React in my free time. Holy, Damir, is you, and I have kinda good info for you. We have a new water tower. It's not built out yet, but it will get built out. So don't you worry. I have something to offer for you. It's not a very big or impressive water tower, but I think it's gonna be a very cute area. Like, I'm not sure what we do here yet. These probably get heated again. but we will build a nice little rail depot area here. So maybe I keep getting frightened more and more that Mir is literally buying every single water tower in our city, besides one that Gaga bought. We will not be in a good position later. And now you bought this one as well. I need to build a new one because I always feel sad when you come in and you try to buy one and I don't have one. But eventually, my entire city is just gonna be water towers because I'm such a slow builder that you are a lot quicker buying stuff than I am at building them. And yeah, I do think, especially in cities, there's quite a few of people who do similar stuff, which makes sense. I think cities attracts that crowd for a good reason. I think it's a very creative and fun output as well. And at least for me personally, I very much enjoy that in cities I don't have a client who can tell me what to do. But it's just my creativity and I do whatever I want. But otherwise, I think it has a lot of parallels to my work. In fact, I added a small Easter egg for the few people who were not there earlier when I showed this. I've been working on this golf pack. So not only do we finally have cactus in Los Vagos, I'm not sure if any of you have seen this already or all of you, but Gaga made us a cactus. It's not finished yet, but it's already beautiful. And I made this golf pack and I could not control myself, so I made my own golf brand as well. And I'm sure Gray, for example, will appreciate my cute golf brand I made quickly. I could not have a small Easter egg in this pack, and I decided, what do people do when they play golf? They're swinging their club, right? So I decided swingers is a fairly solid golf brand. I don't want to swing. I have no interest or no interest. I'm happy where I am, but I'm also not a golfer, so I'm not a person to judge. If these people want to swing, then sure, that's their choice. What caddy? You mean this? Or what is a caddy? I can still add something if you make a good reason for me. If you want one that gets pulled with wheels, I'm not gonna give you that. That is golfing for poor people. That's not something I will interact with. Rich people put their golf bag in the back of their golf cart. Who would roll their golf cart around like a poor person? At that point, just go play mini golf or something. In other news, I've never played golf in my life. I only play mini golf. But if somebody wants to play golf, then they should at least make it make it a proper rich hobby like it is. Well, actually, you do make a good point. Yes, there has to be a teenager who, for too little money, carries the golf bag around for the rich people. I agree. Mini golf is more fun, anyways. I mean, I cannot judge as I've never played golf. Who am I to talk? But yes, I'm a big fan of mini golf. I think mini golf is very enjoyable. And so we make Obelix happy and also get some proper exploitation of the youth into Los Vagos, because that's exactly the values we stand for in this city. We're gonna find a teenager. These teenagers, they are so big already that this is too little exploitation. We're actually taking a kid instead, not a teenager. This is a person who they don't need a backpack. That don't bring your backpack to work. This poor gentleman gets paid $8 an hour to carry around the golf bags for these people. Very appropriate. But yes, I always loved mini golf. I don't know why people. I don't know. At least in my circle of friends, there's a few people who are a bit of mini golf haters. I have no understanding for it. I think mini golf is very enjoyable. I sadly can never remember where, but when I was a kid, my parents traveled with me through the world quite a bit. And one time when we were either in the US or in Canada, I sadly cannot recall. Maybe I can ask them and they remember. But there was a mini golf court and it was managed by an old couple and they together built all of the pieces because most mini golf courses are just built a pre-base or buying a pre-based course and installing it on their property, right? But these two wonderful old people spend a lot of time and energy onto custom building an entire parkour, and it had so many cool things with the balls going on top of elevators and getting shot through the air. Like it was a literal kinda art, really. Like the most creative and interesting golf parkour I've ever seen in my life, and I've been wondering about this a few times in my life, where that was, and if I would be able to ever find this again, because that must have been over 20 years ago. Oh, holy shit. So you're telling us, Obelix, that you're coming from a professional mini golf family. The more you know, I will never in my life play mini golf against you after you disclose this information. Holy ouch. Yeah, that seems I did not read down to there yet. Yeah, having a even just a mini golf ball hit you at full speed must be really painful and unenjoyable. So yeah, I'm sure that did very much hurt. Is that even a thing, even nowadays? Professional mini golf. Guys, I know I've been talking about it so much today, but these cactuses, do you guys see this? Obviously, we have to do a lot more for vegetation here, but just plopping down these three cacti here, god damn, is this making a big difference in Los Vagos. Oh, Gaga actually used the. I will have to show this to Gaga. He used the wrong LOD mesh on one of those. I have done that before, so I'm not pointing fingers. Literally, I've done the same thing a few times where I mix up LODs, and then when you zoom in and out, those nice things like here happen. But yes, we should probably tell Gaga that he needs to change out that LOD. But otherwise, how goddamn beautiful and helpful are these to make this the proper desert paradise that I always wanted it to be? I think it's really nice. Probably nobody as happy about this cacti as I am. What I never tried in my life, what also seems very fun, I might imagine, because I know you're into soccer as well, Obelix. Have you ever played soccer golf? Because that's actually getting a lot more popular over here in Germany in the last years, where you basically have a golf parkour and obviously a bit bigger holes because you play with a soccer ball. But yeah, you then basically play golf with a soccer ball, which I'm not great at soccer. I would probably have a lot of fun, but be really shit at it. Okay, interesting. Some of my friends have, and they all loved it, but they're also all crazy about soccer. So probably I'm not sure if I would enjoy it as much as they would. Yeah, same. I always enjoyed it, but when I was a teen and young adult, I always played basketball. And then after years of basketball, I decided, okay, I'm gonna join a soccer club. And I realized really quick that I'm just too shit at soccer to try to seriously play in a soccer club if I actually wanna join and play and not only be in the bench. Oh, disc golf actually is very common in Germany recently. So yes, I see people play loads of disc golf as well. In fact, there is a part of the city fairly close to me, which is a bit of an, how do you call those in English? An office complex? I don't know how to say it, but it's like an area of the city, an office park, I think is how you would call that. But it's an area of a city which is very basically just full of offices. And in the middle of those offices, they have a shitload of those disc golf baskets placed where you would have to throw onto the chain so it falls into the basket. And there is a lot of people there, and it's not an area where you usually see that many people because it's again in the middle of an office park. But since it's such a big known disc golf place, you see a lot of people playing there. Damn it, office complex and business park. So I chose exactly the wrong combination out of both. Thanks for clarifying, Winter. I'm trying my best. I'm not English or American, so sometimes I struggle with vocabulary. And usually it gets worse the later it is in a day. And we're nearing 1 o'clock. I should probably start or stop streaming soon and look for somebody to raid out to as well. But I would love to finish this area of the build as well, because then I can actually just finish up those few little issues with those 2 packs I have done and hopefully upload them this weekend. Because I know that I've been saying I will upload them very soon since a while, and people starting to bully me for it, which is understandable. I would do the same. I also wanna finally upload these. Yeah, of course, Winter, we do it like wholeheartedly. As a German person, I can tell you there is a lot of German words where it's not a question of what is the English word for it. You just straight up don't have a word that describes the same thing. As I guess I'm sure you are aware, German is a very descriptive language. So yeah, there actually is a lot of words where there is no English comparison to it. I'm sure that is the case the other way around as well, but a lot less frequent, I would guess at least. I mean, I don't know why, but me and my girlfriend were spending a bit of time recently looking at where in Europe and in general in the world the smallest and the tallest population is from. And Portugal, where you're from, if I'm not mistaken, Obelix, is definitely one of the leaders in Europe for the smallest people. So that just seems stereotypical that you say you're not that tall, especially after having looked into that very recently. I was actually surprised how small the average in the US is. I always would have imagined the US to be taller than they are, but at least in average, the US is actually fairly small. I mean, I would argue that Germanic languages in general have that as well, where there is a lot of words that you can use for many different things. So I do think English is fairly similar in that. I just think, and I think that's a very positive thing. I don't mean this negative in any way. I do think English is a very simple language, which is why it's great that it's the most used international language, I guess. Because I think it's a lot easier to learn than many other languages. So you guys can be glad that you don't have to learn French or Spanish or German instead, because that would be a lot more tricky, I guess. I had French in school and I was doing absolutely horrific at it, so I at least am very happy that I have to learn English instead of French. Yeah, I mean, I also forgotten pretty much all of my French, but I also was really bad at French, so I'm not a great example to begin with. Which is even more embarrassing because my mom was a French teacher for most of her life, so fair to say I made my family very proud with being really shit at French in school. But I also just do think that learning a language from a book, I'm sure, is what works for some people. But I don't think it would works for me. I think I actually need to be in that in the country and wanna communicate with people. Obviously, you need foundations for that, but then to actually make proper fast progress while learning a language, I do think is pretty much mandatory to actually get experience. Yeah, no, I agree. Some very like I don't think you need to know much, but like at least please and thank you and excuse me or something. Yeah, I would agree with you, Winter, that probably everybody should try to learn some of those very basic things to communicate in a new place. And that's if you want to do holidays, right? I'm not talking about expats or something. In that case, I would say you should not because it's expected for you, but for your own benefit. If you want to have a good experience, try to learn the language properly. But yeah, even as a tourist, I agree that you should have some very basic few phrases to be able to communicate some easier things. I mean, for me, it's always been one of the reasons why I did not travel to like I do love traveling, but the majority of my travels actually have been in English speaking areas of the world because I have to admit that I love communicating with locals and actually getting like a true and realistic feel of areas. And as somebody who does not speak Spanish, for example, there is quite a few areas in the world that I'm robbing myself of truly enjoying, which I think changes a little bit, both because I really want to learn Spanish as well as because I'm dating a cute Colombian woman. So obviously, I have my personal translator with me at all times, pretty much. So I think that also opens my horizon a bit on traveling to more countries, but I don't know how to phrase this without sounding wrong. I mean this very right. I love seeing many areas of the country, but I think my experience of a place is a lot worse if I'm not actually able to communicate with people. Because I can see a lot and I can get a lot of the feel, but I get a lot worse actual idea of the place. So well, it depends. I think, for example, in many of those places, English is so common that you can communicate perfectly fine in them. Many places of Asia are problematic for that, which I agree. And it's like I said, I think I'm robbing myself a little with that. But I don't know. I think it's also robbed a bit. Like I have quite a few friends who love traveling to Asia, and sometimes it does feel like you just get a touristic experience. And I, for example, have always loved, especially smaller places in the Caribbean, because it's very uncommon for people to travel there if they're not like on a cruise ship or something. But if you actually go to backpack in some of those small islands in the Caribbean, everybody speaks English because they all have been British colonies, and you're in absolutely beautiful places. And I love it because you can actually communicate with people. Honestly, not finished yet, but from further away, I will say this pretty much looks finished by now. If we zoom in closer, most of these gardens need sims and like a little surface work and like small details. But wholeheartedly, I think we're basically done with this. I'm gonna clean up a few things, and then I think that next time I want to go back and detail this a bit nicer than the quick things we've done down here. And then I think we actually have all of this place done. And I also have both of the packs done, so I should be able to upload everything this weekend and take some nice screenshots, because now we actually do have the build to take the screenshots with. Yeah, I agree. I get what you mean, Obelix. But I do think to some degree you are also robbing yourself, right? Like, as much as, for example, I don't think I would love living in India, I think visiting India would be incredibly interesting because I think it's probably the biggest cultural shock you can have if you live in a more Western country. Just because it's so full and chaotic, I don't think you can find that to the same degree anywhere in the world. Maybe Bangladesh, but yeah, I do think India is also scary in in the same regard. Sadly, especially for women, I guess. But yes, wholeheartedly, even though I've been yapping the entire time today, as always, I guess, we have actually made progress and kinda finished this build, which rarely that we do any progress in our stream, so I like it. Here we can build a small playground, and then I was thinking if we should bring this through. I actually think here it would be nice to bring it through. That we can build out this to be a bit of a small area and then go in here with a little vegetation in between and have this be a very green and gardeny garden. Wholeheartedly, I think this neighborhood is probably the prettiest residential neighborhood we have ever built. Okay, Jelly, I have. There is actually multiple exciting things I can show. You seen
I
the
wish we
pools
had a
already?
cactus.
I think
Oh, that's
because we're
cute.
building on the pools for a while now, and we have pools. Then obviously we have what you were talking about with cacti. Look at our beautiful cacti. Like, is quite literally the best thing that's happened to City Skylines since I'm playing City Skylines. Keep in mind they are not finished yet. Gaga is still working on them. There is small details that are not yet perfectly fledged, but I love these. I think they're absolutely beautiful. I think they do a lot of heavy lifting in here. So I'm a big fan. Honestly, I think this entire neighborhood, because it has these cool pools that I made, which I should have showed this earlier. I think this is the coolest thing in all of the pools that I made, because we have a flamingo ring. If they, if this is not cute, then I don't know what is cute. I took a long time to build that cute flamingo rooms. I think actually the cutest, well, maybe this one is also can compete, but I don't like this. Is a bit too posh for my taste, so I wouldn't want to live here. I think the cutest garden we actually built is this one. It's also kind of posh, obviously. This entire neighborhood is kind of posh. But imagine this in the how's that thing called? I always forget in English. Wait, if I click it, the hammock. There we go. I think a hammock like this, but yes, absolutely cute garden. I love water features, so I will have to agree with you, Winter. I just love these small, like you, they actually have their small bridge in here to go over to their cute pool terrace here. I think this garden is lacking a bit yet because I didn't go in and place the Sims yet. But otherwise, wholeheartedly, I think this neighborhood turned out super cute, which makes sense because I've been building this since a while now. Pretty much the last 3 streams, I think we built nothing but this neighborhood. But yeah, I tried really hard to actually make these gardens unique and interesting, where I'm gonna say with the amount of props we have was not that easy. And in these areas, I will probably go back and place some cactus because we did not have that yet. In the upper area here, we have very cute cactus. And then the last thing that is exciting is this, because I made something else beside cactus. I also made a few golf props, which is nothing special, but a golf flag, a golf ball, a weird standing golf bag like this golf bag, and then a cute golf cart. Is one of the reasons why we had to build this neighborhood, because mainly we built this neighborhood to take screenshots of the cute pools, and then Cons bought this house, and I said I can build him golf in the backyard. So then we had to also build those golf props. I have never played golf in my life. I'm the wrong person to interview, but I'm sure there is going to be many golf builds in the future, because I know that people for some reason love golf builds in City Skylines. Don't ask me why. I've never been that person. This is the first time since in Los Vagos, or since, actually not since in Los Vagos, since I played a game that I built anything golf related. But for it, I figured we need those. Yeah, like wholeheartedly, I agree with what Winter just said. Because wholeheartedly, I don't need golf, but the people living here, yes, I can tell you, they absolutely need golf to be happy and live. So this is, as with everything in Los Vagos, Los Vagos is not the city I want to live in. Los Vagos is kind of a parody. There even is some, this is going to be a bit nerdy, political leftist, I guess. But there even is some form of social critic in this entire area. Because I learned about xeroscaping. I'm sure some of you are aware what xeroscaping is. I was not in the past. But xeriscaping is a form of landscaping or keeping your garden that requires very little water, that especially is common in drier areas of California. So I try to do some form of xeriscaping, but since we're also in the US and people don't give a shit about the environment, especially not if they live in mansions like this and have gigantic pools everywhere, obviously these people do xeriscaping not for the benefit of saving water. These people here are xeriscapers because they think it's beautiful, which I'm not going to say is exactly like the US is in the real world, but I'm going to tell you in 20 years, when LA finally managed to deploy their water supplies, you will have people who struggle buying drinking water right next to people who will fly in water with helicopters to fill up their pools because it's relevant for them that their big pool is still full. So maybe a bit of a angry pointer at the US for being absurd, but just wait 20 years and you guys will see that what I said is not wrong. I don't know. I love the landscape of the US, but I've been to Lake Mead multiple times in the last 20 years. But since I live in the EU and I don't get to Lake Mead very often, every single time I've been there, there is like 10 meters less of water. It is absolutely crazy and fascinating in a very wrong and sad way, I guess. Well, not your fault, Winter. Nobody's fault where they're living. And don't get me wrong, like I do like some things about the US, but let's say the way of dealing with the environment and general politics are not some of them. And I'm sure what I just pointed out to you is also something that nobody will ever see or realize when looking at Los Vagos. So it's basically just for me or and you guys because I shared it with you. But I like building in small things like that. Wait, hold on. Was that? Oh, you mean the part in the top with your dad? And that was towards Jelly, not me, right? If I miss something, then gladly just repost it. I miss loads of things in chat, especially if people are actually chatting. And just because we can, well, actually, we have a cactus right here. Never mind, I take it back. I was gonna say just because we can, we're gonna put another cactus, but we have a big cactus density there already. We are instead gonna take a smaller cactus and put one more here. But again, can I point out how beautiful these cacti are? I am the biggest fan. I always miss stuff, even if I don't multitask. I have two brain cells, so live is I'm playing live on heavy difficulty. So for me, things are a bit harder than for you guys sometimes. Yeah, no worries. Thanks for tuning in, Winter, and thanks for all of your interesting input, especially on the map making things. I promise I will not abandon my map. It's just on pause till I'm bored of making stuff in the editor. But yes, thanks so much and have a nice night. I'm basically just waiting for my stream to tell me that the next ad break is coming because it's getting late here as well. So as soon as I get the notification for the next ad break coming, I will go ahead and find somebody to raid out to save you guys from having to watch ads another time. Because, yeah, I will need to go sleep soon anyways. And I have to admit, Rezara, even though you put out your cute rocks and I looked at them and I do think they look nice, I have not used them. And I think I struggled with all rocks so far because they look so different from vanilla. And I find it really fitting to use them in areas where they interact with vanilla stuff. I think I actually will need new areas in which I then only use specific custom rocks. I mean, yes, I agree, sleep is for the weak, and that's not wrong, but then also I am totally weak, so I need sleep. So you're not wrong, but also that will not absolutely not stop me from going to sleep anyways. Because I'm one of those weak people and I'm proud of it. I mean, I think Greece would fit very well in my city as well, cause they fit the colors very well. I was very pleasantly surprised when I looked at Greece's rocks because they are basically what I spent hours on recoloring when we were building. Holy goddamn frames. We've not been in this area of the city for too long. But you guys remember when we spent hours on recoloring the vanilla rocks to do things like this? Rizal's rocks save us a lot of that. But then, if we look at them, and I actually have only looked at them in my test playset, not in game yet, I do think they stand out a bit. I don't even know how to explain it. They look beautiful, and I do totally want to use them, but I don't want to use them this close to the vanilla ones. Maybe this is just a me thing, but I do think they deserve their own area in future where I just use these instead of the vanilla ones. Yeah, I mean, thinking them, definitely. This one especially is very beautiful. I don't even think I need to recolor them wholeheartedly. I think the colors we took for these are really cute. Like, all of these are 10 out of 10 together with our theme in general. So, wholeheartedly, I don't think we even need to. And we do have a tennis net, don't we? I think so. The one thing that annoys me a bit, and we actually had multiple people confirm so today that they have the same happening and they are safe, is that Suli's pool citizens or the ploppable pool sims, these are broken and they teleport. So that will cause me a bit of issues when I take screenshots for the pools. These two here, you can plop them, you can use them fine, and then you close your game and you reload your game, and suddenly they are in different areas and do very weird things for some reason. I don't really know how to deal with that. I think I will just place them, then take the screenshot, and then delete them right away because I don't want them to fly in the middle of the air. We were playing earlier and we just had a random person flying somewhere here in the middle of the air because that person was in a pool in the past and then got teleported. Riza, of course, I always complain. And I think you tell people about 20 times per day in my Discord that you will ban them. One day when I ever decide that I don't want to have my Discord anymore, I'm just gonna make Riza admin. And then I guarantee you my Discord is gonna be empty after 5 minutes because Riza is just definitely gonna ban every single one immediately. So I have no doubt that that will happen. I believe it, Riza. You have proven that you would ban people quite a bit lately. In fact, I think Reza threatens me about once per day that he will ban me from my Discord, which I'm sure would happen if he could. I know. I mean, it is a truth. I told you this. I said this on stream before. I'm literally just following Reza's orders, right? Like even today streaming, you guys might not believe it, but Reza is standing 2 meters behind me, holding a gun to my back. He dictates every single word I say. And the only reason I said I need to stop streaming soon is not because I want to, it's because Reza told me I'm not allowed to stream anymore. So wholeheartedly, do I have any choice? I'm just following orders. But also, if anybody complains about me stopping to stream, it's not my fault. Just complain to Reza instead. I've tried that before as well, Reza. The actual funniest one, if you have not tried it, you will enjoy that one a lot. The shark. If you place a shark in the middle of the street or something, then you will have a shark swimming around in your floor, and every once in a while you see the how's that called in English? The thing they have in their back, the back fin. Is that a fin for animals as well, or is that only for boats? Well, you guys know what I mean. I think it's called the back fin. But yeah, you see that point out while they're swimming in the floor, and it looks pretty hilarious. I think actually the shark are the most fun ones in that regard. I mean, sure, Sunny. I'm gonna immediately believe you. It's surely called Schlong. Thank you. I'm so glad to have helpful people like Sunny in my chat. What would we do without Sunny? I would not know how to speak proper English. But then thanks to Sunny being so kind and wholesome, I now know how to say these things correctly. Also, whoops alarm. We did not place her where she was supposed to go. Sunny, I can only always say it. I'm thankful to have you here. I will probably not manage to survive in life without your helpful input. As always, I would say Riza is wrong, but obviously I'm not in a position to say so. So sadly, you guys have to listen to me. If you don't, or listen to Riza, if you don't pay Paul him money, you are legally required to close my stream right now. Surely, if you don't close the stream, it will have consequences, and not nothing will happen. Just believe, guys. And wholeheartedly, I know I've showed this a few times already, but I think this is very cute. If you look at the pools I've been making, and obviously this is just a small kiddie pool, but you guys see how the props change out randomly, and you get different placement of them and different colors. So my hope is that people don't need to detail out every single one of those. But if you place multiple and you go around your map, you will just randomly get different variations of them. Which I'm not saying I think I'm is nice I've did that, but I do think it's nice I did that.
Oh, that's cute.
I wish we had a cactus.
You don't have to wish anymore, Gray. The wishing for cactus is gone. We do have cactus. I'm gonna wait till Gaga has it finished, but I even already found a new sound for a cactus redeem. In fact, is a very French person,
I
which
wish we had a
maybe some people
cactus.
don't know, but Gaga is a Frenchie. Is a very French gentleman saying, "Oh, cactus." So soon, guys, soon you're gonna get cactus on PDX, and we're gonna get a new cactus
I
redeemed
wish
for
we had
stream,
a cactus.
because we don't need to hope anymore that we have a cactus. We do have cactus, and in future all of us will have cactus. Did you? I posted the sound in my Discord, even Riza.
I wish we had a
If you didn't
cactus.
see it, you can totally
But I
check it
cannot
out.
see. I'm legally blind.
It is so true. I spent like 5 times earlier trying to find something in Find It, and I kept scrolling over it multiple times, not seeing it, having to scroll back. So I am absolutely legally blind. I will accept that is reasonable. But yeah, since Gray said he wish he had a cactus, there we go. We have cactus. Look at cactus right in front of you. And another one. We have a lot of
If
cactus
I have
by
to
now.
listen to this bloody narrator say the same thing one more time, I'm just gonna.
And
quit
wholeheartedly,
PlayStation
I've been
now.
saying a while ago that I'm basically just waiting for my stream to tell me that the next ad break is starting, because it's nearing 1:30 in here. So while I'm happy and welcome in Jamama that you just showed up, I think I will send you guys on a last UFO ride while I open up Twitch real quick and see if anybody is streaming. In fact, as always, when Gray is in here, I'm gonna tell you the same, Gray. How about you start streaming Cities right now? Till which Gray is gonna answer me that he's gonna start streaming Cities in 10 hours when I'm long
I wish
asleep
we
and
had a
maybe even up
cactus.
again. Because Gray has the worst stream schedule out of everybody in this game. But yes, sadly, I fear Gray will not do me the favor again.
I wish we had a cactus.
I'm gonna have a look. I'm kinda picky. If I don't know, I don't like to raid people that I don't know. So I hope somebody we know is playing Cities.
Get the rocks.
I positioned you
Get
for
the
a nice
rocks.
UFO roll.
Abdul. Yeah.
Now
Get the
you
rock. Get the
guys can
rocks.
enjoy your nice UFO ride. And I will open Twitch real quick in the background and see who is streaming. If they're playing Cities and it's not many people streaming Cities, I'm sure I can find them. But yeah, if Gray and Dava know them, then
Emotional damage.
or just type the name in chat if you don't mind.
Emotional damage.
Because I do see multiple people streaming Cities, so I'm indeed not sure who it is.
Road trip, baby.
I am very sorry. I'm sure who was the mono picket. You redeemed a road trip. That means usually that we always do a nice road trip, but the ad break is starting so soon that I don't want to make you suffer through another ad break. If you remember and you tell me that you redeemed that, we will do a road trip the next time you're in. But yes, I'm gonna send you guys over to Nick Simulations because the ad break is starting in like 100 seconds and I want to not have you guys have to go through that again. So with that, thank you so much for all of you for tuning in, and I hope you have a wonderful time and evening and enjoy your weekend and enjoy the stream over at Nick Simulations. And with that, I hope all of you cuties are having an
Bye, have a
absolute
great time.
wonderful good night and enjoy your time over there. Bye bye, cuties.
Bye. Have a great time.